Welcome to day 107. This is 1 Samuel 23 through 25, and we're in Psalms 54. I want to share some interesting thoughts to you today. In Samuel 27:9, David is kind of going throughout different villages and doing certain things. But what he's doing is he's following what God has told him to do and all the Israelites to do at one point in time. So he is still going after God's own heart. And he has more and more people coming to him and more people leaving Saul. So in verse 9 it says this: David did not leave one person alive in the villages he attacked. He took the sheep, goats, cattle, donkeys, camels, and clothing before returning home to see King Achish, which is a Philistine. So at that point, that's just to point out that he is obeying God, doing things that all the Israelites should have done all along. Then Saul, he is kind of reaching the end of his career and his life, and he is desperate to find David and desperate to find out what's going on with the Philistines. And the Philistines come out to attack, and he gets really desperate, and he goes to a medium, which you're not allowed to go to medium. So in your list, make sure you put down in the witchcraft and mediums and psychics list that you have this down. The whole chapter of 28, 1 Samuel 28, but I'm going to read certain scriptures from that, but the whole chapter is about that, him going to a psychic, a medium. Okay, so verse 8, so Saul disguised himself by wearing ordinary clothing so that the medium wouldn't be scared. And she says, "Are you trying to kill me?" The woman demanded. "You know that Saul has outlawed all the mediums and all who consult the spirits of the dead. Why are you setting a trap for me?" But Saul took an oath in the name of the Lord and promised, "As surely as the Lord lives, nothing bad will happen to you." Okay. So Saul told the medium to call up Samuel, and so she did. Now here's the interesting part about this. She sees Saul, and she's terrified. And she sees Samuel. So she sees Samuel and realizes that's Saul that's sitting across from her, wanting her to do this. And he says, "Don't be afraid," the king told her. "What do you see?" And she says, "I see a God coming up out of the earth." Two things here. So Samuel has passed on. His appearance is such that she thinks this is a God coming up from where? Out of the earth. So at this point, people are still going to a place. All right? Later on, Jesus goes to this place and collects people who are righteous, that God deems as righteous, and takes them to heaven. So that's another part of the Bible we'll get to. And this is not purgatory. This is not what I'm saying that is. I'm saying this is a place where everybody is going to. And even Abraham is on one side of a chasm and people on another side, and they ask Abraham to even dip his finger in water so he can just have a drip of it. This is the rich person that gets sent to the really hot place. But obviously there's a difference between where this person's at and where Abraham is at, and now where Samuel's coming from. So there's a great chasm between them. All right? Abraham and Samuel and the people that are deemed righteous are not suffering, but the people on the other side of the chasm are suffering. So wherever this is at, you can call it Sheol, whatever you want to call it, but there is a difference between the two. That is much later that we'll talk about that. But I want to say that she sees someone coming up like a God. So something has been transformed with Samuel, which is a wonderful thought. All right, so here's what Samuel says. Oh, there's another part of this. I forgot. So obviously, mediums have something going on. God has allowed this person to contact Samuel. So remember, God is allowing certain things to happen. I'm not saying that mediums and psychics don't exist. We're forbidden to talk to them for good reason, for a very good reason. I mean, there's so much mischief that can happen with that. Do not do that. Okay, so verse 19, what's more, the Lord will hand you and the army of Israel over to the Philistines tomorrow, and you, Saul, and your sons will be here with me. The Lord will bring down the entire army of Israel in defeat. So Samuel, there's 5 things in all of that to look at and discuss. So don't go to mediums and the idea of the Samuel coming up and what his appearance is like. What a wonderful thought that is, and then the prediction of what's going to happen to Saul real soon. Now, get your list out again. We have the book. A book is mentioned in Psalms. I didn't write this down. Psalms 56. All right. Verse 8. So we have, keep track of all, this is talking to God. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. So God has a bottle full of our tears. You have recorded each one in your book. So there's not a name of the book here. I wrote down the book of tears, the book of sorrows, some book that keeps track of our sorrows and our tears. Okay, and then he has a bottle that collects our tears. So what a great thought that God cares so much to keep track of that stuff for us, and he's going to just take it all away from us. So what a wonderful thing. That's day 108. It should be day 108, and I know at the beginning I said day 107. It should be day 108. So I will see you tomorrow for day 109.